in. She's kind of normal at the
You
beginning.
found her normal?
At the beginning.
Frances
at the
Bay,
beginning.
I thought I thought she was
You
creepy.
never met
The
our
minute she
mother.
shows up.
You never
exactly.
met our mother. That's our
When she,
standard.
when she comes out of the...
Yes. We're back.
Okay, so we're back. And so now I think we're going to Bob. Okay, Bob.
Yeah, the movie is called In the Mouth of Madness, and it's a John Carpenter movie, and we're about to look at the trailer.
It's been a while since I've seen this trailer.
Is it Christine?
Yep.
Does she like the Stephen King movies? Some
Oh, no.
with that. This is the vampire one.
You're absolutely
Yeah, vampire.
mad.
The riots began
This
I
because
like that.
explorers couldn't
I like
meet
that
the
one.
demands of Sutter Cane's novel, In the Mouth of Madness.
Kane disappeared 2 months ago without a trace.
I'm the guy that writes horror books.
You can forget about Stephen King. Kane outsells them all. I need to know if he's alive or dead, and I need that book.
I'm like, did she do anything else besides Friday Night Part 2?
I just have to work out how it's set up.
Kane's writing has been known to have an
There you
effect
go.
on his readers.
See this? It's a map. This whole thing has been staged.
You just get out.
This is not reality.
It's all happening for real, Trent.
I know this book will drive people crazy.
Well, let's hope so. The movie comes out next
Notice
month.
his American accent will come and go.
Sam Neill.
Sam Neill.
Sam Neill. Especially when he went, crikey. No.
He's not Australian.
Yeah, he is.
Yes.
Sure
Is
is.
I
Yeah.
thought
Is
he's
it really?
English.
No.
No.
Yeah, no, I was
Australian.
making a joke. He's
Yeah.
Australian.
Well, what was it? My young year. What was the
My
first-
brilliant career.
my brilliant career?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
we're
then-
on. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Hi, folks. John Carpenter. They started in that trailer. This is in 1995. Well, in 1985, he made Halloween. But before
78
that,
in Halloween.
78, before that, he made a movie called Assault on Precinct 13. And he did something in Assault on Precinct 13 that broke the rules of movie making. And so you know that this is not a guy you're ever going to be able to predict what he's going to do, except that chances are the movies are not going to have the happiest of endings. And I find, I had seen In the Mouth of Madness once or twice before, and I picked this movie basically because of Sam Neill's performance, because I think it's a brilliant performance, and what he goes through in this thing. It's hard to describe this movie, which is good because basically I'll say it's a combination of Stephen King and H.P. Lovecraft with an emphasis on the Lovecraft. And it's about, I guess the theory is basically Stephen King has written a book that's so powerful that it's going to bring the world to an end.
But it's not Stephen King.
But it's not. It's Sutter Cane. It's Sutter Cane, and I don't know where they came up with that name.
Yeah, right.
But it's Sutter Cane. But it also is. It's much more. It's more Lovecraft than Stephen King. But the idea is like that the power of writing can break reality, or break reality as we know it. When I first saw the movie, I just, to me, the last shot of the movie is something I said, I'm going to remember this one for a long time because it's just, it's an incredible payoff. The movie itself, I've now seen it 3 times. It doesn't necessarily hold up the first time, because the first time I saw it, I was like, I wasn't prepared for it. And that's the case with a lot of with a lot of John Carpenter's movies. I mean, the premise is great, and then he doesn't like really give that great follow up to it, or a great resolution to it. I've never been that much of a fan of Halloween because it's just not my kind of movie. But it created a genre. It absolutely created a whole new spectrum of films. And some of his other stuff, he's unpredictable. I mean, he did Starman, which was not a horror movie at all. It's a very lovely love story, a supernatural love story. He also directed one of my favorite movies, Big Trouble in Little China, because I loved the martial arts movies, and this movie had so much fun.
That was a great movie.
This movie had so much fun with the martial arts movies. And he did the best version of The Thing, bar none. It's like, and The Thing hints at what this hints at, is it's a very, very, very dark ending to the story.
So explain the story, because I got lost a lot.
Well, yes, and I think you're supposed to, because it's, I mean, first of all, I'll say this. It's like maybe an hour stretched out to an hour and a half. There's not all that much to the story to tell, but they've got all this time. So he's driving down the road. Now he's driving down the road again. Now he's driving down the road again.
But so Sam Neill is looking for this author,
Sam
right?
Neill is an insurance investigator who doesn't believe any of this crap they're talking about, the books of Sutter Cane. And Sutter Cane has disappeared, and everybody wants to know what happened to him. Now it starts, the way the movie starts out is kind of giving you a tip-off to the end, because the movie starts out with him being brought into a nut house. And it's like, those scenes are great. Actually, John Glover, who plays an attendant at the crazy house, is very effective. I mean, it's a very weird performance, and there are several very weird performances in this movie, not the least of it being the leading female performance by Julie Carmen. I don't know whether she's a good actress or not. I can't tell, because this character is so strange, and it's like she is the female lead, and you expect a certain thing, a certain progression. But he does the same thing with Kirstie Alley in the remake of Village of the Damned that he did. It does not go where you think it's going to go. And he jolts you like that. And that's one of the things that I'll give to John Carpenter. His movies continue to jolt me. Oh, another one of his that I'm a huge favorite of. They Live. They Live is an amazing.
That was actually a good movie.
That's a really good movie.
But the remake of Village of the Damned was horrible.
No, I mean, it was something that... he bollocksed it, but what I'm talking about is like what he's done with some of the characters.
Okay, but getting back to this
story,
story,
let's hold on a second, because
I need someone to explain it to me.
But we're going to get around to you, and I don't mean to stop
go
you,
ahead,
because I don't think I have that much more to say, and I really want to hear what you have to say.
No, you don't.
And now I've established by listening to you that I can interrupt you when we get around to you. So I knew when I picked this movie that I might be the only person who likes the movie. It's not a likable movie. It's a very disturbing movie. I got to say, Jürgen Prochnow, who plays Sutter Cane, the author, does a really interesting job in it. And it's very Lovecraftian, but it's sort of Lovecraftian just outside your awareness rather than hitting you in the face with it.
That's true.
And that worked for me. And there's just things like with the car that keeps going down the road, and the different people that you see, and and there are some special effects in it that are really, really unusual. It's not like, oh, how did they do that? But it's just like, oh, I didn't see that one coming. So I recommend this if you have a taste for the bizarre. If you are a John Carpenter fan, you've probably already seen it. Discover Sam Neill's performance in this. He really gives a great performance. And over to Susie.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting movie. It kind of reminded me of like a longer Twilight Zone. It's like something I might have seen on the Twilight Zone, where you don't, it's not something you can almost logically explain, because it seemed to me that what happened is they went into a portal, because there was actually technically a portal he goes into and a portal he comes out of, which is kind of different dimensions that is somehow close to this dimension. That's how I figured what I figured.
And also for Patty, I think the company, the publishing company, because the guy works with insurance, they have like $1 million insurance because he's missing.
Right.
So he's like, he's not missing. I'm not going to find him because you guys are doing this
I got that.
so you can get the insurance money.
It's when, as you said, he goes looking for him, and then there's a part.
Okay, that's when she goes sign into that.
Yeah, I think that the actress, the character, Linda Stiles, who's played by Julie Carmen, she kind of gives the, and I'm going to paraphrase here. She turns to him and she goes, well, what is reality? Reality is what we kind of agree it to be. Right. And I was like, wow, that was before all the craziness happened.
Yeah.
But it was like that, in a way, that's really true.
That is true.
You know, it's like we say, it is what we say it is. And, but it is definitely could have been a Rod Serling production.
A very dark Rod Serling.
Well, he does sometimes.
I would say,
yeah, but not
I would probably say
not as crazy as this
it
one.
falls more on the Tales from the Dark Side.
Okay, let's put it like this.
Yeah.
Rod Stewart.
Rod Serling.
Rod Serling takes acid. He writes this one. But there was an element of dimensional stuff to it. I don't know exactly what he was trying to say with it, though. But that's what I got. Patty.
Well, at least you explained the portals. You know, I love horror movies, especially psychological horror movies. But John Carpenter's never been my favorite, though I have a huge respect for everything he's done, especially with Halloween. Because if you can make that movie 500 times, that'd be a big seller.
Well, he only made it once.
No, I know. But to me, that's amazing. Because even now, Halloween movies are coming out. But I don't like his movies because they're like B movies to me. And even though I love some B movies, I don't like his B movies. They're too corny. That's the word.
Esoteric?
No, they're corny. And you're right. It's like Rod Serling and Tales from the Dark Side. It's just like that. Except they would do it better. You know what I mean?
It would have been shorter.
It's a lot shorter and more.
Well, as I said, this movie could have been a lot shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't explain it. You get lost, especially when it goes down that highway. You start getting lost. What the hell's happening? Even if you don't. One thing about Rod Serling is he always leads you through the crazy parts. So you know what's happening, even if it's crazy. And I didn't feel this movie did this. So that's it.
You know what? Actually, you just made me think of something. This movie is sort of like, hey, you want to see something really scary? You know, I mean, that to me is what it is. Hey, you want to see something really scary? And then he'll put it up there.
It would not be this movie.
It's not that scary. It's not as scary as he thinks it is.
No, it's not a scary movie at all. It's
I'm
not even a psychological.
I'm not talking about the movie in particular. I'm talking about John Carpenter. Is that John Carpenter has that thing? He's like a kid who gets an idea and he puts it out there and says, "This is really scary."
Yeah, he gets an idea.
And then the other guys, the other kids go, "It's not that scary." Yeah. Or, yeah, that really scared me. I mean,
but at least he tries.
when I had to take a trip down to Georgia at one point, and my wife wanted me to leave movies for her to see, and this is one that I got because I knew she liked horror movies. Right. And I came home. She was watching the movie when I got back from Georgia, and I walked in the door, and she's curled up on the couch like terrified. And she looks up at me and says, "This is the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life."
Really?
And I said, "Yeah." And I said, "I get it. I get that because if you buy into it, if you follow through on it, it's a terrifying movie." But it has the weakness of a lot of John Carpenter stuff is on repeated viewings. Now, to me, when you talk about They Live, that holds up every time.
What?
They Live holds up to view after view after view.
Couldn't you pick that one? I love that movie.
I don't think I've seen that one actually.
Yeah.
I have to watch
I'm
it.
sure you have.
This one with Roddy Piper and the put on the fucking glasses.
Are you kidding me? Roddy Piper, that's the best movie ever.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm here to chew gum and kick ass, and I'm a lot of gum.
Exactly. That's the famous line.
That was the famous line.
Yeah.
Hey, little fella, where did you come from? The Bluey.
Yeah,
that was a great movie.
That was
a great movie. Anyway.
Okay, Lon.
Oh, okay. Well, I do like John Carpenter because I really think Halloween was a groundbreaking film and it created tension.
Yeah.
And I was telling Bob before this, the movie, for some reason, I really enjoyed was Prince of Darkness because of what you said. I really got into the premise behind it, even though this was not a critically acclaimed movie at all, but I got into it and I felt very uncomfortable. Yeah. There was the tension and what's going to happen at the end. And he also developed I want to say not so much a dimension thing, but obviously it had to do with time and, well, hell, basically. So
another one with a seriously dark ending to it.
Mm-hmm. But it all made sense to me. But I agree with you, Patty. That's the one thing, like a lot of things, like Stephen King books or stuff like this, they don't tell you how everything gets developed. At least even Dean Koontz admits, oh, it was a government experiment. I mean, he starts off with that premise. So it's like you realize where these creatures are coming from.
Right.
This just had to do with, I'm assuming, somebody's imagination. So it was odd. But I, for example, in this movie, I thought the performances were all good. I can't fault that.
Yeah.
And it moves along briskly. But there was no tension for me. It was more dramatic about, what is happening? Okay, you got monsters. Okay, how do they get away? But I wasn't frightened by this. So I wasn't in suspense either. But what I do like is that, in my opinion, there are a couple of very creepy scenes in it, though. What John Carpenter I think he does best is he creates an atmosphere and then a mood. Now, if you go with that, I think, like Bob's saying, you will get frightened, because if you buy into everything that's going on, it's like you have no idea what's going on. So you have no idea what's going to happen. Mm. I think by this time, I can see the John Carpenter formula. So it's like, oh, I see what he's doing. But I have to admit that because of the performances, I think that's what sort of carried me through. And then again, how is this going to end? Because there's no way I can predict how this movie is going to end. You sort of think you have an idea, but like you're saying, you don't know what the story is. So you don't know what's going on. So it's like, what in the world is going to happen?
What happened?
So, but I thought it kept me entertained though throughout from the beginning, because it is the character that Sam Neill's playing that I thought was interesting, that he is, how would you put it? The fact that first of all, how many times do you see a movie with an insurance investigator, right? Usually,
it makes sense.
I was going to say, usually have to go back to the past when, right, somebody gets the insurance claim and they're going to murder somebody, right? This just has to do with they just know he's really good at his game. And I didn't even understand why they called him, because, like you said about the insurance part, it's like, oh, okay, so it's that much. But if they know they're going to make so much money, and the fact that he's so cynical about the publishing company, I don't know if you call this a spoiler because it happens at the very beginning, but he thinks it's all a publicity stunt. Oh, you guys are just doing this so everyone's. But I'm
assuming he's very good at his job.
Very good. No, you see that at the beginning.
Yeah,
you see that, I think, at the beginning. That's what I said, at the beginning sets up the character very well.
Yeah, when they get Peter Jason and they nail him for.
And another thing that you see at the beginning, which you don't understand, is the thing about the violence or the epidemic, they keep calling it, which right at the beginning, they don't really explain that either. It's just sort of see a little news story and think, what is this all about?
And also that when there's that scene with the cop and he's beating up everybody in the alleyway.
Right. Like almost on the fantasy or something. You have no idea.
Going back to that
exactly
a couple of times. And then the third time, I think it's not there. So it's kind of like, I don't really understand what he was saying there, what he's trying to show.
That's what I was wondering, if it has to do with the imagination. That's why, is it Sam Neill's imagination? Is it somebody else's imagination? What's going on? So you're right. But see, that's what I mean by the creepiness of it. That, you see that one scene and then it's like, okay, see it again. And then to me, that adds a certain creepiness. Not so much suspense, but it's like, ooh, that was weird. What does this mean? But we're never told. But like I said, I would recommend people see this movie. But I thought it was okay thriller, But it's hard to say with a John Carpenter film what to expect or what you like of it. But I like I said, he just creates an atmosphere in his movies that I really tend to like.
I think that George is jumping at the
bit.
Go ahead.
But one thing is, they should have called the writer in the movie Stefan Quinn.
Why?
Because so close to the Stephen King. The Stefan Quinn. One thing, the first thing is from a technical point of view, I thought the audio, Oppenheimer, I thought the car crashes, everything was really loud, and the dialogue was very quiet.
Yeah.
So, because I would turn up the dialogue and then I get startled by the audio. The movie reminded me of Hellraiser and House. Have you guys seen House?
Yeah.
No.
The greatest American superhero.
Oh, House is good.
So and it almost had an 80s feel, even though it's in the 90s.
Yeah.
Which I always approved the 80s feel.
Wasn't it 1985?
No,
1995.
Oh,
But,
I
you
thought
know,
it was very.
it felt like 80s. Like,
The
remember,
movie I
like,
would compare this to is Lord of Illusion.
No, that was a good.
Never saw that. That's a Clive Barker.
Clive Barker
Yeah,
thing, but it's
that was
basically a Clive Barker,
Like, you know,
a Stephen King type of thing.
in the 80s, there was a lot of. I love 80s movies too because the audio was very dry. Like a lot of times there would be no music, just dialogue and quietness, and
Right.
kind of like in the Company of Wolves. I don't know if you've seen that. No, I
Yes.
love that. So it
Neil
kind of
Jordan.
remember those kind of movies. Sam Neill he's really good. He's in fact in the beginning I didn't know that was him when he's in the asylum.
Oh,
And he's looking around. He makes his funny faces.
yeah, I agree with you.
I didn't know that was Sam Neill until he starts talking. And, oh, that is Sam Neill. So maybe
He
'cause-
does look a little different in those.
He does, yeah.
openings, yeah.
So maybe because
Young.
younger.
Way younger.
Yeah.
It reminded me.
Mm.
I don't know what I'm saying. It reminds me of Boys Afraid. I don't know why. Because you don't know if things are happening in his head or they're actually happening. Kind of like Boys Afraid. You kind
Yeah.
of remember that part of it too.
Yes.
But I'm like, is this happening in his head? No, there are things that happen towards the end of the movie that it would be a spoiler alert if I mention it too.
Mhm.
So also the Julie Carmen, she makes a point about, like you were saying, that if everybody was crazy and with the majority and you were the minority and you're not crazy, you're the one that's off, kind of thing.
Exactly.
You know? Everything's related to who the majority
Yeah,
is.
she made some interesting
Yeah,
points.
that made some
her
interesting
character.
points. The first time I saw the movie, because I think it was the second movie I've seen, and it was after lunch, and it was nap time. So you gotta have a nap time at a certain age. So, but then I was like, and so then I watched it again. So I have to put some. I have to put some ketchup on it. You know? So and then the second time I was like, oh yeah, okay, I see where this is going. So actually I did enjoy it the second time around when I watched it. It does have a bit of a cheesy effects with monsters and everything, which I thought it can remind me of the 80s too. But I would say I enjoyed it the second time around. Is that what I'm saying? Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Oh, what I will
very
mention, one
80s.
thing that I thought was sort of interesting that I saw on Wikipedia is apparently Hayden Christensen has the role as the little boy on the bike.
Oh, really?
That
Oh,
was
no
him.
I thought it looked
That's
familiar.
That's what it says. It just says
Wow.
makes his film debut briefly seen as the paper boy,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I was gonna say another point too is like with the
Yeah.
towns when he goes into a town, are the people in the town real, and there's this thing that's coming around that's changing them, or are they part of it too? What's really going out there into
because
this?
initially they're all kind of normal.
And also,
You know, the lady at the
Yeah.
inn, she's kind of normal at the
You found her
beginning.
normal?
At the beginning.
Frances
at the
Babe,
beginning.
that was, I thought she was
You
creepy.
never
The
met her
minute she
mother.
shows up,
You never
exactly.
met our mother. That's our
when
standard.
she comes out at the beginning and they asked her, do you know a so-and-so? And she's like, no, we don't know that. I don't know that. I've never heard of it. And she was kind of normal. It was later she got odd. And also with the townspeople, they were kind of normal.
who also felt like
And they seem to have read the book. And when they read the book, they get
that seems to be
weird.
that. That's
Because remember, she said, I was up late reading. And it was like, that's when she started to get weird. Before that, they were kind of normal.
But it's also what you think. Did he come into this town or writing this thing and started screwing up the town by creating this story? Or did he create the town with his writing?
Well, yeah,
tools?
we don't know because
Yeah.
also
It lets you
later
hang
in
with
the
that.
movie, they say that is, again,
And we're
the
doing spoilers here.
character-
And then he
the-
says dead people.
the character what's her name, Linda?
Linda, yeah.
Yeah, Linda. She says to him, "Why did he pick you? Think about it. Why did he pick you to come here and do this? Why did he pick you? As if he's part of the whole concept."
You know, the one
Right?
thing I didn't believe is those Dobermans. They're aggressive. They're so cute. Look at how cute you are. How can you be so aggressive?
Yeah, it says like, look at those dogs. They're
Look at me, how
so
cute
cute.
they are.
They're adorable.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Let's-
are we
Yeah.
ready
Yeah.
to?
So be-
Okay, so that would be me. Okay, I will give this a Rod Sterling-ish mark. Would I give it an 8? Because even though I don't understand exactly what it was about, it was definitely imaginative, and
that you give an 8?
No, but yeah, he was trying to go somewhere. The fact that I can't understand where he was going doesn't mean that it's not good. It's just that he was trying to make an interesting observation that went whoop over my head.
Dear Mr. Carpenter, where were you going with this movie?
I didn't see it as a Carpenter. I saw it as did Carpenter write it?
No.
No, it was written by some
Michael DeLuca.
Michael DeLuca.
Is it based on an actual book? Like
No.
the Stephen King novels?
No.
Yeah, because it had that kind of a feel. Like
I think Bob mentioned that though, because that's another thing Wikipedia mentions, that the H.P. Lovecraft had a lot to do with the influence of the screenplay and the
it was
story.
like even though the point is lost on me. The trip was really interesting.
Okay, I give it a 6.
I gave it a 5.
Wow. I'm surprised. That's a high rating.
Not really.
No, but I mean, it's a higher rating than I expected you to give this your response.
I don't want to be cruel.
Because he had the vampire from Friday Night 2, I'll give it an 8.
It didn't have anything to do with Fright Night 2.
The vampire. That was Julie Carmen.
Don't kill his illusion.
You really didn't know that?
What?
No, that she was in Fright Night too. That's Fright Night is one of his favorite series.
I don't know if I ever saw Fright Night 2.
Okay.
Anyway, so and I'm not rating it. So
I know.
And I will cut now so I can explain the movie to you guys.
Okay. So we'll be back.
Say your thing.
We'll be back for the explanation.
Okay.
We'll be back.